Let's talk about Excel formulas in this section. Excel is a powerful tool for calculations, and if you can navigate your way around the formulas, you're just as good as a pro. I'm going to talk about the various formulas that Excel has, and I'm going to start with the sum function, subtraction, multiplication, division, the count function, and so on. But I'm going to be starting with the sum function. Now, there are three ways to sum up values in Excel. We have this data right here, and then the first one is to learn to use the order sum right here. It looks like an E, but it's not an E. How do we use this order sum? Go to the cell you want to add up and then highlight to the next empty cell where the output will be displayed. We highlighted cell B3 all the way to cell B5. There are values in B3 and B4, but there's no value in B5. Cell B5 is where the output is going to display, and that's why we have to highlight up to that point. After doing that, just go to the order sum and just click the button. You'll see the output in cell B5. If you go to the formula bar, you're going to see the formula. Another way to do this is to use the sum function manually. I'm going to take this off and I'll show you how to impute the sum function manually. Remember, if you want to use any formula in Excel, the first thing you need to do is to use the equal sign. The equal sign is on your keyboard, and there are two functions on that button, the plus sign and the equal sign. If you want to use the equal sign, just hit the button just the way it is. If you want to use the plus sign, hold down the shift button and then hit the plus sign. So, having done that, the next thing is to type the sum function, and once you do that, it's going to give you options to choose from. And because we just want to sum right now, we just pick the sum function, and it's going to open parentheses for you, select the values, highlight, and then close the parentheses, and then hit enter key. If you click on cell B5 where the output is, you're going to see the formula in the formula bar. It's just the same as what we did earlier, but just that we did it manually this time. The third way to do this is to use the plus sign. The first thing you need to do is to pull out the equal sign and then select the cell or the value that you want to add up. Pick the plus sign. Remember, I said you're going to hold down the shift button and then pick the plus sign, and then go to the next cell or the next value you want to add up and then click on it. Then hit the enter key. If you click on the output in cell B5, you're going to see the formula in the formula bar. And those are the three ways to use the sum functions in Excel. Now let's talk about subtraction. The subtraction button is beside the plus button on your keyboard. The first thing you need to do if you want to subtract in Excel is to pull out the equal sign and then go to the value you want to subtract, select, and then go to your keyboard, hit the subtraction button. There are two symbols on that button, the long dash and the short dash. The long dash is not the minus sign, the short one is. If you want to pick the minus sign, just pick it the way it is. If you pick the long one, it's going to come out as underscore. Let me take this out and show you how this is. To use that, just hold down the shift button and then put it. It shows up as underscore. But if you want to use the minus sign, just hit the button the way it is. And then go to the next value you want to subtract. Click on that and then hit the enter key. If you click cell B5, you're going to see the formula in the formula bar. Let's go to multiplication. Remember, the first thing you need to do is to pull out the equal sign and pick the value you want to multiply. The multiplication sign is on your keyboard as asterisk sign. It's on the same button with number 8. To use asterisk, just hold down the shift button and then pick the asterisk sign. If you do not hold down the shift button, you're going to pick number 8. But that's not what we want. So I'm going to hold down the shift button and pick the asterisk sign. That is the multiplication sign in Excel. And then you go to the next value you want to multiply and select, and then hit the enter key. If you click on cell B5, which is the output cell, it's going to show the formula on the formula bar right here. Now let's go to division. Remember to always pull out the equal sign first, and then you select the value you want to divide. The division sign is on the same button with the question mark symbol on your keyboard. To use this, just hit the button the way it is. But to use the question mark, you need to hold down the shift button and then press the button, which is going to show you the question mark. But that's not what we want to do today. I'm just going to pick the / sign right here. And then you select the value you want to divide and click the enter key. If you click on that cell B5, and you go to the formula bar right here, you're going to see the formula. Let's look at the count function. The count function is used to count the number of cells in a given data set. Let's count the number of cells in this data set right here. There's a formula for it, so I'm just going to pull out the formula, and the formula is count. Select the count function and then highlight all the cells you want to count, and then close the parentheses and hit enter. Now we have 10 cells in this given data set. If you click on the output, which is cell E6, you're going to see the formula in the formula bar. That means we have 10 cells. Let's look at another count function, which is Countif. Countif is used to combine different operators and return a desired output. Let's say we want to find the total number of cells that are less than 3,000 in this given data set right here. I'm just going to pull out the Countif function. I want to put the output. So I pull out the equal sign, and then I pull out the Countif function. Once you type it, it's going to give you options, and then it's left for you to select what you want. These are all Excel formulas. So what I want is Countif. I'm just going to click on that, and then I select the range that I want, and I put a comma, and then I put my criteria. My criteria is that I want to count the number of cells that have values less than 3,000. So I'm going to put the inverted comma and then the less than 3,000. And then I close that, and I close the parentheses, and I hit the enter key. Now I have 7 cells that have values less than 3,000. If you want to check that, we see 2,000 is less than 3,000. This first one, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is less than 3,000. That's the second one. This is less than 3,000. That's the third one. This is less than 3,000. That's the fourth one. This is less than 3,000, fifth one. This is less than 3,000, the sixth one. And this is less than 3,000, the seventh one. So if you want to find out how many cells are greater than 3,000, we're just going to change the formula right here from less than to greater than. And then we hit the enter key, and then we have 3. Remember, we have total of 10 cells, and 7 of them are less than 3,000. That leaves us with 3 cells which are greater than 3,000. Now let's look at average, median, minimum, and maximum. We're going to start with average. To do that, pull out the equal sign and then type average. It's going to give you the options. Just select what you want. We're going to look at average, so we're selecting average. So select the range and close the parentheses and hit enter. So the average of these values is this number right here in cell E6. If you want to find the median, simply pull out the equal sign and type median. Once you type the first letter, it's going to give you options, and then highlight the values you want to search. Close the parentheses and hit enter. There's a difference between the average and the median. The average is the summation of all the values divided by the number, but the median is the middle value in the data set. That's basically the difference. So let's look at the minimum. To look at the minimum, that's the least value in this data set. Just pull out the equal sign and type min. As soon as you type the first word, it gives you option, and then it opens the parentheses and then highlights the values you want to search. Be sure to highlight everything and close the parentheses and then hit enter. The least value in this data set is 1, and that's why we have 1. If you want to look at the maximum, pull out the equal sign, type max. Once you type the first letter, it brings you options. Then the open parentheses, and then highlight all the values you want to search. Close the parentheses and hit enter. We see here that the largest value in this data set is 8 million. So basically that's it. What about the square root? You can actually use Excel to calculate the square root of a given number. All you have to do is to pull out the formula and perform the magic. The formula is right there in Excel. Just pull it out and insert the number or value that you want to find the square root. Quite easily done. This is the square root of 25. What about errors? There are some errors that you see when you're working with Excel. One of them is this kind of error. I just keep typing the value in the cell, in one single cell, and then I hit enter, and I see all this hash sign. I get worried that what could this be? This is an error in Excel. To fix this, just go to the edge of the column on top of the sheet, double click, and then it opens up for you. You see the total value. Another way you can do this is to go to the edge right, the corner of the column, and then drag till you get the desired value. Another error in Excel is the name error type. This error type shows up when Excel does not recognize a formula or a text. Let's say I say equals and I highlight and I click enter. You see this kind of error. This means Excel does not recognize that formula. How do you fix this? Simply use the right formula. Take it off and then you pull out the sum function. Let's say we want to add this up and you get the answer. Finally, let's talk about a few other formulas. First, we talk about concatenate. This is used to combine strings from selected cells or range into one string. I'll show you an example. Pull out the equal sign and pull out the concat function. Once that comes up, highlight all the cells that you want to join and then close the parentheses. Hit the enter key. This is going to join all the words in different columns into one string in one column. What about the not equal function? The combination of less than and greater than is used to represent this function. I'll give you an example. We have the word jump and fly. These are in different cells. But we want to use the not equal function to say that jump is not equal to fly. If it is true that jump is not equal to fly, it's going to return true. But if it is wrong, it's going to return false because the function is not equal. So if jump is fly, it's going to return false. But if jump is not the same thing as fly, it's going to return true. Let's try this. Pull out the equal sign and then we select the cell. So C14 is not equal to cell D14 and then we hit enter. And it shows up as true because jump is not equal to fly. This is where we're going to round up this session. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next section.